Hi everyone, Happy New Year to you all. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. Anyway, today's card I've already prepped. I'm going to be using the Wilted Violet in the Distress Oxide. I pulled out a couple of watercolour pens. I've got a purpley colour and a green. The stamps that I'm going to be using are the Floral Curious Posy Circles, the Floral Curious Posy Corners. I am going to use from the Decorative Banners and Mini Sentiments. I might use this one and we'll stamp either one of these stamps or one from the Just Saying Heartfelt Sentiments. I don't know yet. So that's the stamps that I'm going to be using. I'm not using any dies for this card. So I've cut myself 2 pieces of cardstock at 7 inches square, and on one of the pieces I scored that at 2/8 of an inch and turned that over, and this is what's going to create my card base. My next piece I've already put my first layer on, so the white piece is 6 3/4 square, and I've put the double-sided foam tape on the back already, and I glued my next piece, which was 6 1/4 square, onto the top of that one. Then my next white piece is 6 inches square, and I run that through an embossing folder. Now I don't know where this embossing folder is from. It's a very old one. I'm trying to use up things that I haven't used for a long time, so I don't know where that one come from, but it's a really pretty design. So I've embossed that. I've also cut myself 4 white squares at 2 1/4 square, and the backing for them in the same color as the first matte layer is 2 1/2 square. So that's 4 of each of those. So we can either start the card first or we can start with our stamping. I think what we'll do is we'll glue our card base together first. So on the 2/8 of an inch that we've scored and burnished, we're going to run a nice line of glue all along there. We're just going to burnish those two together. Give those a really nice burnish, and this is what's now created our card base. First matte layer, as I said, I've already put the backing tape on, and I've put the purple, this is a satin, shiny satin cardstock. So I'm going to take my backings halfway and we're going to remove all those center backing tapes. Taking my card base, making sure I've got that the right way around, and I'm going to get my first and second matte layers down. Give those a nice press, turn that over and give that a nice press from the back. Then I can remove these backing tapes. That's the first 2 matte layers done. Now this one that I embossed, I want to pop on the top. There's a bit of ink on there, but that's not going to show. Again, I'm going to take my backings halfway. Again, remove that center one completely. And I'm going to line this one up nice and straight. And that's that one. We can now remove these backing tapes. And that's the base of our card done. So there's 1, 2, 3 matte layers on this card. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to take in my 4 white squares. Now I am going to pop a tiny bit of kitchen roll down for this. And if I take in the stamps that I want to use for these, so I'm using the Floral Curious Posy Corners. I'm only going to use one of them, and I think I'll use the smallest one. There are 2 different sizes. So if we take out the smaller one, pick that up with my stamping block. Now I only want a tiny bit, so I only want to basically do the corners. I'm using the Wilted Violet in the Distress Oxides. I'm going to ink up this stamp. And if I pick an area, making sure that that's nice and straight, I'm just going to stamp that down there. So that's our first one done. So we've just picked up a tiny bit of the stamp. So we need to do that on all 4. That's number 4. I'm just going to give my stamp a quick wipe off. Pop the lid back on there. We don't need that anymore. So I take in the first one, hopefully that's dry, and with the back ends, I'm just going to glue these to the back. Just a tiny bit of glue all over the back of there. Get those nicely lined up. So that's the first one done. So now I've got my 4 identical toppers. What I thought I would do is this one I would have this way, this one this way obviously, and then we can come down with these 2 at the bottom, pop them to one side. So these are going to sit on my embossed piece. Bring them in, and I think I'm most probably going to have to put these up with foam tape or foam pads. Because I don't think they'll glue. I don't really want any more height. I'll try and glue them and we'll see how they go. But because we've embossed this top piece, it takes a little while for the glue to grab. That's that first one down. I'm going to leave a tiny gap, about the same on this side, and that's the second one down. What I will do with these, I think afterwards, is turn this over so that the glue grabs while we stamp our next image. This one, we're going to have the same amount of border on the side, about the same. Try and get that lined up nicely. And then the last one. In this corner. So there's our 4 toppers down, just making sure that that is straight. It does look straight. I'm going to turn that over. I'm going to just pop my pens on there for a couple of minutes until that's grabbed. And then I thought I would use the Floral Curios Posy Circles, and this is going to be for my centre topper. I think that stamping block is just about the right size, so if we turn that one over, pick that up. Now I don't think there's a right or wrong way for this. I'm going to take in another piece of the same cardstock, looking to see if I've got a smaller piece. I don't want to waste. That would most probably work, actually, that size. I'm going to stamp it on this one first and see if I'm happy with that. So I'm going to just pop down another piece of kitchen roll, and with the same Distress Oxide, I'm going to ink up this stamp. As I say, if you're happier using your stamping platform, then that's fine. I'm going to stamp this just about, I'm going to turn that slightly, there. Give that stamping block a nice press down. And there's our beautiful centre image. Just going to give that stamp a quick clean off. So we've saved that piece of cardstock, and we don't need that anymore, because what I want to do now is with my scissors, I just want to fussy cut this all around the outside. I don't want it to be perfect. In fact, I want the edges to be a bit wavy, so that makes it look like it's bin die cut. That's that side. There we go. So that's my center image. I am gonna corners off, I think, like so. Now if I bring back in my card, this is going to sit on the center, but we are now going to just pop a little bit of colour on these florals. I'm not using water, but this is my watercolour pens by Sentimentally Yours. So this is more of a lilac than a purple. So if we do just a couple of these, I'm going to do the big one. Not doing anything major, and I'm going to do this small one over here, doing the whole floral. And we'll do the same with this one, so we'll do the whole floral. That's that one, and do this one down here, and again all we're doing is a mirror image, top and bottom. There's that one, and I'm not worrying too much. I'm not going mad, just popping down a tiny bit of colour. Now if you want to put any shadows in, just go over some areas again. Same with that one, just a few different areas, just to make that look a bit more realistic. There's a dog barking outside, sorry if you can hear it. And that last one. There you go, so that's those florals coloured in. We're going to do the same with our biggest topper. So we're just going to pick up on that floral. As you can see, I'm not really worrying too much about keeping within the lines or not going right up to the lines. And then we'll just pop a bit of darker shading in those. So that's those two. Not going to do any more of those. And then I pulled out a very light green, and I'm just going to pick a couple of leaves. I'm not going to go mad. So there's two on there. Actually, if we do the three, so that's those three. And then if I do the same with this one, so I've got that one there, there's a tiny one just down there, that'll do for those. This one, there's one there, I've got a light one this side, but there isn't any, so I'm just going to do that other tiny one next to it. This one, and there's a leaf there. I could do that one as well. And then the last one. Yeah. So there. So the bottom ones have got 2 on, the top ones have got 3 on. Let me just do that one and see if I can find. I'm just going to do that a little bit there. There we go. So that's our florals done. This one I am going to put up with foam tape. So just a couple of lines of foam tape. And I'm not backing this one with the purple satin paper, leaving it as it is. So remove those backings. So it's a really quick, easy card to make actually. I know you didn't see me do the prep, but that didn't take any time at all. This one I'm going to sit just there. Yeah, perfect. We'll give that one a press down. So that's how our card's looking at the moment. Now we need to do our sentiment. So if I take in another piece of the same cardstock, and I did say, yeah, there he is. So we've got the decorative banners and mini sentiments. Now I'm wondering if it would be too much if... Oh, actually, I think that would look perfect. So we could have either this one with just a couple, or we could have... I think I'm gonna change my mind, and I'm gonna have the one that goes into a bit of a scroll. I think that would look quite nice. So get that one down. I pick that one up, and again with the Distress Oxide, ink this one up. Get your cardstock nice and straight. We'll come along this end just in case we mess up and need to do it again. Give that a nice stamp down. I'm actually quite pleased with that. That's come out fine. And then this one I need to fussy cut out. Again, I need to do the same with this one, so I'm going to colour in Centre Floral. And I might do that tiny one as well. So we do the two on here. Give that a bit of shadow in. And then with the green, just going to do those leaves. There we go, so it's just the two. That's going to sit just there. And should we take the sentiment from here as well? So we've got Happy Birthday to You. We'll get that one nicely lined up, which is going to be that one. And I am going to ink this up in the VersaFine Onyx Black, only because I want to add a focal point, and because it's all basically the same colour, there's no real focal point. And this one's going to sit just there. Happy Birthday to You. And this one I'm going to pop up with some foam pads. So there's one in the centre there. There's the next one. And I am actually going to double these up. So if we take the back ends off of those. Pop another one on the top of those. And not only will that give us some extra height, it will take up the depth. So I think the end one, which is this end, is going to need 3. There we go. So remove those back ends. And this one is going to sit just, to get that exactly right. I'll show just there. Perfect. And then the last thing I want to do is add some glitter to some of the florals that I haven't coloured in. So I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of glue down. I wouldn't go too mad because this is Distress Oxides and it will run, but it should be fine. It's just a tiny bit of glue. And although this looks creamy, it will dry clear. And that last one. So we've done at least one, I think, on each square, and 2 in the middle. So just give those a flick off. How pretty is that looking now? We've popped some glitter on. I think we'll do this one on the end. And on the first matte layer, I'm going to go all the way around the outside. I'm not worrying about it being in a smooth straight line. You'll see I'm almost jagging it as I'm going along in a zigzag motion. I should have done that before I put my topper on, but never mind. So all the way around the outside. Pop some glitter. Where did I? I done that last one as well, didn't I? I think before you add the before I added the glitter, it looked quite bland, but now actually it looks like a very, very pretty card. I might be inclined to actually just add a tiny bit of glitter in the centers of the florals that I coloured in. Let's have a look and see. The trouble with me is I don't know when to stop. Yeah, that looks absolutely gorgeous. So we'll do that one as well. We'll do that one. That small one. That small one. And these 2 on the... And there we go. There's our first card for 2026. How lovely does that look? You see all that lovely sparkle. Absolutely beautiful. I don't think I'm going to do the inside at the moment. I'm going to wait for this to dry, but what I will do is most probably just stamp have a lovely day or something in the middle. The front says happy birthday to you, so I could potentially put have a great day, and I will just stamp that into the center. How lovely is that card? Really, really pretty. And all we've done is some stamping, tiny bit of colouring. We haven't gone mad. No blending, no real technique to it. Added a bit of glitter. And there we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little video. Thank you for watching. And until the next time, bye for now.